Man, we all know how 50 Cent sometimes speaks when he shouldn't be, or says some stuff that he probably should keep to himself. This really isn't one of those times, though. After the recent death of rapper DMX, whose real name is Earl Simmons, everyone came out of the woodwork to explain how they feel about the incident. Some people were respectful to DMX, his fans, and his family, while other people sounded like they didn't know the meaning of the word tact. We totally get that the events surrounding DMX's passing away were a little messed up, and the man lived a pretty complicated life. It's really not okay to just speak ill of the dead, though, regardless of how dicey some of their past may have been. It sounds like that's a lesson that Irv Gotti never learned, if the way he's been running his mouth off about DMX is any indicator. Despite having been around as a rapper for a little while, DMX was only 50 years old at the time of his death. And realistically speaking, that's tragically young for anyone, really. So both 50 and Swizz Beatz had some words to say about Irv's treatment of DMX passing lately. For those who don't know, DMX passed away on April 9th of 2021. He died after a long struggle with a few different illicit substances and a lifetime of mental illness, namely bipolar disorder, also known as manic depression. A few years before he actually passed, he was found unresponsive in a hotel in 2016. He pretty quickly got to feeling better after he was administered Narcan, but the investigators and police weren't able to find any substances in the hotel. Not only that, but it's unclear whether or not he actually had anything in his system at the time. Earl Simmons himself said that the cause of the health incident back then was an asthma attack. A lot of people claim that his death must have been directly linked to his use of one of these substances, but there's not exactly that much evidence for that, and if there is any evidence, that hasn't been released to the public. It's not that it's not likely that that's what's been going on, it's that you shouldn't be speaking on it like you know what happened if you don't have all the facts. You know what I'm saying? On April 2nd of 2021, DMX was found in his home in New York before being rushed off to White Plains Hospital, where he was treated for most of the day after sustaining a heart attack. The heart attack was said to have been caused by some sort of overdose. What exactly he overdosed on is still up to question, but he struggled with a few different problems throughout his days. The next day, it was revealed that he had been put on life support, and after a while and multiple attempts of resuscitation, it was discovered that there was pretty much nothing to do for him. After this, the family decided that they let nature take its course. While there was tons of speculation about his death being an overdose, the family tried their best to shut down those rumors, instead speculating that it could have somehow been related to the vaccine that DMX received shortly before his death. A close family member of Simmons said he got that vaccine when they opened it up to people over 50. He got it so that he could go travel and perform stuff like that. They claimed that it was most likely related. They also said that they think that if there was an overdose involved in the situation, the doctors would have come out and mentioned it by now instead of keeping it a secret. As we mentioned earlier, for the most part, people have been respectful of DMX and his passing. Most people. That being said, a few people weren't so respectful. Irv Gotti came out in an interview with 107.5 in Chicago, a radio station, with some pretty bold claims. Some of these claims were, they said it was a bad dose of crack, and they said that some drug, fentanyl, was mixed in with the crack, and that's what made him overdose. When he got to the hospital, he got diagnosed with C19 and he couldn't breathe. You know, that C19 messes with your respiratory system. So that's why he had to get hooked up to the ventilator. But then they said before he did, his brain had died. Without any evidence, you really can't just come out saying stuff like that. I mean, like, maybe if he had some documents, some written statements from doctors or something like that, something reliable, we could rely on what he was saying. But there's really no reason he should be having insider information either. So for what reason does he expect us to take him at his word? I have no idea. Sure, he had signed DMX to Def Jam back in the 90s before he had hits like Where the Hood At, but it's pretty unlikely that he would have kept up with him like that. No way would the family share something like that with him because they've been adamant the whole time that there weren't any substances involved. He did nothing more than tell everybody what they wanted to hear. Not exactly wanted to hear, but what they expected to hear. We can sit here and make conjectures about it and how it went all day, but no one should pretend to know exactly what happened, especially if they most likely had no real connection to anyone in the whole situation. Now that we've gotten past that, though, let's dig into some of the reactions other people had to this news. 50 Cent was the one who started the backlash on this one, making an Instagram post where he said, "This guy is an idiot. Did he just say DMX died from smoking crack and fentanyl? Why would he say that? Swizz Beatz and Jada Kiss both bagged him up with statements on the post. Bozo moves can't lie, said Swizz. To be fair though, Swizz Beatz has had some issues with pretty much most of the way DMX's passing has been handled by the media and by people close to Earl Simmons. I just wish all these people showed up for him when he was here, you know what I'm saying? He said after showing up to a huge memorial that was set up to honor the late rapper after his death. You got thousands of people claiming who they are on tickets. This man needed everybody. He didn't need everybody when he's not here. He needed everybody when he was here. I don't want y'all showing up to my shit when I'm gone unless you were showing up while I was here. To be completely honest, it makes sense that he feels like this, right? I mean, maybe this isn't the most sensitive way to handle being at a memorial for someone where their friends and family are just trying to be positive. But that being said, he ain't wrong to call out the hypocrisy inherent in the situation. It doesn't mean that anyone loves him any less, but he was struggling for a long time and people probably saw it but just didn't do anything to help. Whether they could have or just weren't able to doesn't matter much at all, because in the end, the result is the same. On the topic of insensitivity, Irv Gotti might have been slightly more respectful than it sounded. He could definitely have been more honest about what he knew and what he didn't, but at least seemed compassionate to a degree. Before they did hook him up to the ventilator, they was like his brain died. They said even if he come through, there's a good chance he gonna be brain dead. Once they said that, I was like, damn, I don't want to see X like that. I said if he come back, I want him to come back and be X, you know what I'm saying? If he gonna be brain dead and a vegetable, I don't want to see him like that. I think when it got down to it, he couldn't survive without being on that machine. He gone. He continued to offer a hopeful take on everything. But again, I have a feeling about it because I know he was God. He was such a spiritually connected person that all the wrongdoings he may have done are gonna kind of be forgiven. I just feel like he up there. He's at peace and he's not fighting no demons no more. He's in a better place. When I die, I'll see my man again. While it's all well and good to assume DMX is in heaven now, that doesn't mean it's okay to make assumptions about what happened and then passing them off as if you were DMX's best friend in the whole wide world. In reality, Irv Gotti probably didn't know Earl Simmons like that, no matter how much he wants to act like he did. Saying some nice fancy words about how he's secured his place in God's kingdom doesn't really mean anything to the people who lost a loved one, or all the fans who've listened to him running his mouth off about how he knows exactly how everything went down in the privacy of Mr. Simmons' home. While he might not have meant much harm by it, sometimes it's not the intent that matters. It's that he shouldn't have been speaking on something that he didn't actually understand. What do y'all think about everything, man? Are 50 Cent, Swizz Beatz, and Jadakiss overreacting, or is Irv Gotti completely out of pocket on this one? Was DMX's death dealt with in the right way, or was it disrespectful to his legacy for everyone to act like it was some big shock that things went the way they did? Feel free to let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out some of the other videos on the channel, man. And have a great rest of your day. And as always, don't forget to keep it RIZZLE.